So I wonder if you could start by just giving us a sense of how successful you feel the project was overall.
Right, okay. Well, in terms of testing the assumption that the Alexander technique could be helpful in supporting the well-being of residents with dementia and their carers, I would say that the pilot project was astonishingly successful. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind after doing the pilot that yes, the Alexander technique can definitely support the well-being of people with dementia and their carers. To me, that seems abundantly clear. Other people may not agree, but for me, that is clear. So it exceeded my expectations, and the data from the carers suggested it also exceeded theirs. You know, one of them said, "Well, it blew my expectations out of the water," and both of them mentioned ways that they thought it could benefit lots of other residents and their carer colleagues. So, yeah, I'm fairly sure that it was a good test of the assumption. The assumption was correct. Yeah.
And were there any ways that it didn't fulfill its purpose?
Yes. My another purpose for me in doing the pilot was that it was going to lead on to a larger study in my mum's home. So initially, I was just gathering a little bit of data with the purpose of suggesting to management, "Well, look, you know, this is worth doing. I'm gonna, if you're happy, I'd like to do a larger project, bring in other colleagues, Alexander colleagues, and produce a bigger study with more detailed findings about more people that I could then use in various ways to persuade researchers to get involved and that kind of thing." Anyway, that didn't happen, and that was a big source of disappointment to me for a while, because for a long time it seemed like it would, and then in the end it didn't. So that was disappointing. Um, Care homes are immensely complex, immensely challenging organisations to run, and I absolutely understand that anything that the management feel may in any shape or form add to that complexity is going to be something they're going to want to avoid. So I really, really do understand. It was disappointing for me, but hey, you know, I get why it happened, um, and that's okay. You know, I've lived with it. I've moved on, as they say. But that was, yeah, it didn't meet that particular requirement, or one of the things that I hope would come out of it.
And I guess, again, that's the nature of research, isn't it? Often it's a bit of a long and winding road, and there are twists and turns that you
Yeah,
don't always expect.
that's right.
So I wonder what's happened then as a result of the study, beyond just, finding your findings. What else has happened?
Well, I wrote up a report. I did that immediately, and that in it, and it was to show the management of the home and visitors and stuff, and that is a useful document in itself, and it's also given me a nice, neat record of the study. Um, I wrote a proposal for the European Congress for Integrative Medicine, which was due to happen in September, but because of COVID has now been postponed to next February. And because it's been postponed, the deadline for them telling you whether or not your proposal has been accepted has also been extended. So I don't yet know whether my proposal has been accepted. So that was anyway, a proposal for a conference presentation. I've written an article for the Journal of Dementia Care, which is a professional journal, so very different from the kind of article I'm used to writing for more academic journals. Um, and again, I'm waiting to hear from the editor, so I don't know if that will be published or not. He's made encouraging noises, but I don't know yet. Um, I have plans to write a longer, more in-depth, more academic article for an academic journal. from the project. I think I have plenty of material for that, and I quite like the idea of actually doing a longer piece, and one that researchers will hopefully read and be interested in. And as you know, but maybe other people don't, I'm now working with you and your colleague Emma Wolverson at Hull um, on the STAT dementia survey, helping analyse the findings and write them up. So quite a few things have happened as a result of the pilot. Yeah.
Mm, interesting things ahead. Were there any particular challenges or obstacles in the follow-up phase that you could tell us about?
Well, I'm in the process of finding out. There may be. As you know, the Alexander technique is not really part of the medical orthodoxy. We don't have a real evidence base for Alexander technique helping in dementia care. So it's quite possible that my conference proposal, and it's quite possible that the article that I've submitted will meet with a certain amount of skepticism. I don't know. I may be wrong. I hope I am. But I don't know if the work will be taken seriously. Also, I'm just a lone researcher. I don't have the backing of a university anymore, never mind that I worked in one for a couple of decades. I'm not part of one anymore, so I don't know how things will be viewed. As I say, whether stuff will be taken seriously. So there may be an obstacle there in terms of being heard, but I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll soon find out, I guess.
We will watch this space.
Indeed.
And finally, one last question. Any nice surprises following on from the study?
Yeah, I mean, people in the home were positive, and sort of visitors and people like that were interested in what I was doing, and some of the staff and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's all positive. Um, I Ages ago now, a few months ago, you put me in touch with Emma. Emma and you, I think, were developing a proposal for some research, and I had a conversation with Emma about the work that I'd done, and she said she wanted to have a look at my report. So I thought, well, why not? So I sent her my report. No one else really much had read it at that stage, and she said, oh, this is really good, this is publishable, and you ought to get it out there. And basically, I've been sitting on it for nearly 2 years, thinking, oh, no one's going to be interested in reading a pilot study with just 4 case studies. I needed something bigger. But her reaction, and then the reaction of yourself and a couple of SRG colleagues, made me think, well, hey, why don't I just publish something from it? And that's when I approached the Journal of Dementia Care and did the European Congress proposal and one thing and another. So that was a really nice surprise, because I honestly thought, well, it's just going to sort of fizzle out and that'll be that. And that was a bit disappointing. So to think that it might have a life beyond that report that I gave to the home was nice, and that was a good surprise. I think for me, one of the most significant outcomes of the whole thing has been the fact that now I am working with you and Emma, and we're sort of collaborating on this shared, what I see to be very, very important agenda of dementia care, using the Alexander technique in dementia care. And so now I'm part of something potentially, with international significance, working with people, from overseas, maybe respondents to the STAT survey, etc. People who are interested in similar areas in other countries, and potentially part of something much, much bigger and much more far-reaching, and that's really, really exciting and really pleasing. So that's been a very positive outcome for me personally.
That's lovely to hear. Thank you. And I guess, to have someone in the care home say their expectations were blown out of the water, that's quite special. That's the one to hold on to and savour.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. I think
Thank you.
we've got a really clear picture. Thank you.
Thank you.